brought to you by Pancratz and Hodge,
Secure Store 50,
Serenades,
Ken Construction,
and the OG Patrick Charlson.
Patrick Charlson. Cool.
All right.
Well, hey, Bruce, what are we drinking today?
We have, because we have a special guest.
We have a special guest. This is thematic.
And, oh my gosh, it's Space Camp.
Space Camper.
And this is going to, when we bring, yeah.
It'll make sense.
It'll make total sense.
So, it's delicious.
It is delicious.
It says a Cosmic IPA. It's like an IPA. It's got a good amount of kick. It's from Boulevard.
Yeah.
It is about 6% alcohol, so it won't light you up quite as much as Voodoo Ranger, but it'll still, get you there.
Yeah.
I mean, you can find this in most liquor stores. It is a delicious beer.
It is. This is a treat.
Very consistent. So it's one of Sam's favorites as well.
Okay.
So we drink a lot of Space Camper, especially this summer. Yes.
Yeah, this
Cosmic.
is good.
So that's our beer.
Okay.
So what's going on with you this week, Bruce?
All right. Hey, I got a couple things I want to run by you here.
Sure.
Not a rant. I don't want to rant. I'm in
You're in a mood. I like it.
Yeah.
I feel like it's the outfit. Like
it's
very zen.
I'm not ranty.
You got like your little
ranty.
beer thing. You got your little hat. You're not ranty.
No, I'm not. No, I finished East of Eden. I wanted to tell you that.
Oh my God, that's my favorite book.
I know it is. I know. That's
so what did you think?
It's in my top 5.
Good.
It is in my top 5.
I was waiting for you to be like, it sucks.
No,
this
not
book
at all.
Is crap.
I read it all. Yeah. It's in my top 5. Still not up there with Lonesome Dove. That's my once a year, once every 2 years. I read the whole damn thing again, but it's up there.
I do Lord of the Rings about once every 4 or 5 years.
I do that one about every 5 years.
I do,
too.
and I think I do it now just out of tradition. I read The Sun Also Rises like every about 5 years as well.
Really? Okay.
Well, it's really interesting because like when I first started reading it at like 10, like your life perspective and views change so much that the book really changes over that time. But yeah, that's one I do.
Pick that up again.
I don't know. I always think it's fun. There's bullfighting. There's trout fishing. There's drinking. There's all kinds of stuff.
I like it. I like that a lot.
But I've always been a Hemingway guy.
Yeah. That's great. I got one more for you before we start the news here, and I wanted to share this with you. So, you know that Meghan Trainor and she'll probably come out the house sometime and play on the porch, play music on the porch.
Are you talking about the All About the Bass chick?
Yeah, Meghan Trainor and
That's a blast from the past. So you and Meghan Trainor, okay.
Yeah, but I'm on to somebody new now. I'm Lizzo. I got to get her to come to the house to play on the porch.
Was this from Saturday Night Live?
Yes. Yeah.
I
was like, I dig her. Now I'm into her music. Lizzo.
Oh, yeah, she's fun.
We're going to get her on the phone. Get her over.
Okay.
I bet she'll come.
I don't know if she would or not.
No, I bet she will.
Her and Kelsey Grammer, and that would be interesting.
Yeah.
Well, cool.
Anyway, that's all. I just want to tell you, I got a thing for Lizzo.
Okay.
But I still love you, Megan.
Oh, anyway.
You probably better get in the news.
Yeah, what do we got the news? We had much ado about nothing. There was a ton of sirens come screaming up today. It ended up being a bomb threat was called into Walgreens.
Oh my God.
There was a bunch that were called in across the state, even as far out as like Elkhart. Long story short, they shut down Walgreens for 20 minutes, gave the all clear. Walgreens is fine. Walgreens has been getting hit lately because they had the guy who tried to rob it 30 minutes after getting released from jail.
Walgreens,
So I don't know what it is about Walgreens, but they're having a rough run of it.
So wait. Let me ask you: the bomb threat throughout the state, was that at Walgreens throughout the state, or just bomb threats in general?
It depends, because like the stories I was finding, like some listed where it was, some are just like local law enforcement are investigating a bomb threat. So I do not know if it's specifically targeted Walgreens, but like this has been happening more and more often because there was another slate of them in like March 5th, and so I don't know.
I don't either.
I always feel like I'm gonna get like flagged for saying the word bomb threat repeatedly, but like I always feel like, if someone was actually going to do, why would they call in the threat?
I know. Why wouldn't you just? Well, we should probably not talk about this anymore. No,
it never makes sense to me.
Okay.
So we had that go on. There's going to be if you see people out on the courthouse lawn tomorrow, there's a protest. It's some of the Mennonite churches in the area. They're going to have a hymn sing service protest for immigration and I think about Gaza. So there's going to be a lot of folks out there
out on the courthouse lawn.
Yeah, so that was something that came across today. Other events going on Saturday. Yes. I think we've got the Emma Creek 5K up in Hessen, as well as Bloomfest.
Bloomfest.
Can you explain a little bit what Bloomfest is? Because I know it's like tied to it.
It is, and Andrea over at the Heston Chamber has just done a phenomenal job. It will be a spring, not quite as probably intense version as they did the Holly Jolly Heston.
Okay.
But it's just they got all kinds of cool stuff going on, and she's worked really hard at that. And if you got nothing going on, swing over to Bloomfest.
Flowery, frolicky Heston instead of Holly Jolly. There's flowers and there's frolic. Go frolic in Heston. Nothing says Heston like frolicking.
That's right. It's a frolicking kind of a town.
That's really any of the big news stories coming up for Saturday that I got. I don't know if you got anything.
I don't have anything. No.
Any questions?
No, I'm sorry. I was not prepared with questions.
Well, you should have been, Bruce. I'm a little disappointed.
Damn it, man.
You suck. But yeah, so I mean, if we got nothing else, we can just go to break.
Let's do it.
We'll just take a break. We got a pretty good guest here coming up.
And bring our guest on. Yeah. All right. Hang tight, folks. Hey, we are back, and Adam and I are excited as heck. We've got David Decker with us, who he brought the Space Camp beer. He also brought a shirt, and this will tell you exactly.
Show him your shirt.
Yeah. So it is SETI Institute.
Are we alone?
Not presently, right?
Not presently. So
this is fantastic.
Can you
You're
explain
a dream
for
guest.
folks
Go
who
ahead.
are familiar with SETI?
Yeah,
What is
fill us
SETI?
in.
Yeah, so no problem. So the SETI Institute, what it stands for is a search for extraterrestrial intelligence.
Okay.
Hence the theme of the beers.
Right.
And the t-shirts.
Space camper.
So essentially, it is searching for intelligent life outside of Earth. So that's what the Institute's about. It's over 100 scientists that are working on solving that ultimate question, which is on the back of your shirt.
Right.
Are we
Okay.
alone?
Are we alone?
In the universe?
And how do they do that? Is this do they send out? Is this the one that has the big radio?
Yeah. Right, absolutely. So what you're talking about there, yes, is the radio telescope array that's pointed out to space. You might have seen part of it in a movie called Contact that was back in the 90s.
Yeah.
Jodie Foster was in that. It's come a long way. Is there a Jodie Foster thing that we need to discuss?
No.
I mean, I think we both like Jodie Foster.
Grew up with her Freaky Friday. Go ahead.
I remember from what was that? Trading Spaces, or not Trading Spaces? It was with the rich guy and the poor guy, and they switch. It's got maybe Dan Aykroyd.
No, you're thinking of
that's Trading Places.
You're thinking of Trading Places, but that's not her. That's
She's like in,
oh God, Jodie Foster. I'm thinking of
Curtis.
other
You're
short
thinking
names.
of
Jamie
Curtis.
Lee Curtis.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jodie Foster, Silence the Lambs. I have derailed this. Continue.
Kind Clarice. Go ahead. Yeah, right, David.
Right. So essentially, that same array that's there. So it's sending out. It's listening for noises out in deep space. But SETI has evolved a lot since then.
Okay.
So now there's things such as laser SETI, where they're looking for. If you can, and I'm going to really simplify this. So
for us dumb people.
No. For any of those scientists listening, and they're like, "Oh God, he's screwing it up." I'm going to simplify it.
Beer Friday is really large within the local scientific community.
I don't know. Oh, but essentially, have you ever seen a picture of the Earth at night?
Yeah, with like all the lights. And stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
So essentially, laser SETI is looking for those kinds of signatures. Maybe a planet that's turned away from its sun, that's producing artificial light, or the laser part of it is, or a vehicle or some type of probe that's powered through space through laser light. So they're looking for those artificial light signatures out there. So there's that going on, because the idea is that, more than likely, once contact with an intelligent alien civilization is made, it's probably going to be with their technology first and not the biological body.
Okay,
so
right.
looking for those signatures, much like what we do. We have probes that are a million miles from Earth. If it was to be encountered, they wouldn't necessarily be encountering humans; they'd be encountering the probe.
So here's a thought. Yeah, I know. What if,
you guys are so excited? This is awesome.
Light years away,
touch my thigh.
There's Glorchek and Glubby and Xenon here, sitting here having a conversation, drinking like fermented alien juice, and they're all like, "Yeah, we're just shooting and looking for these probes coming out. What if that's what's going on?" That's a really dumb question. I don't know where I'm going with this, but it's wild to think about.
It is. Well, here's a question, David. So when we look at a planet star way off, because of the light speed, it's maybe 1 million years old. Who knows? How's that factor in with all this?
That's. I'm glad you asked that.
Okay.
How does that factor in all this? That is the biggest, I think, and this is just my personal opinion,
Right.
that is the biggest problem with identifying and communicating with other species or life outside of Earth is simply time.
Yeah.
You know, if you think about our closest, that we know of, exoplanet that might be habitable is Proxima b. Okay, and what I would tell you is you see in the papers or whatever, it'll say, well, Proxima b is like 4.5 light years away. So to translate that into what's possible with travel, even at our fastest speed, it would take over 6,000 years.
See?
To reach
That's
Proxima
wild.
b.
That
So
is
you're
wild.
pretty well spaced in time. When you say, oh, it's 4.5
Yeah.
light years, it doesn't sound so bad. Yeah, nothing travels that fast besides light.
Okay.
So it's not possible right now. It's not possible for a human to make that journey. So it would have to be something.
Yeah.
Either you're sending something mechanical, and by then you're probably not going to be able to power it anymore, or you're actually talking about doing something with space-time, such as probably what you've heard in the past. Either a wormhole or folding space-time that essentially projects you through.
But
that
theoretically,
space.
with light, if there was something over on Proxima b, we could send little signals back and forth every 4.5 years, maybe, if we knew that.
This is true.
Have you seen the three body problem? Because this feels like there's a TV show, The Three Body Problem, which is kind of based on this, where they're like listening and they make communication, and it's so interesting.
I've not seen it, but it sounds cool.
It is.
Have you seen it?
No.
It's very cool. Well, and I can't think of the term because
isn't a little bit better?
Isn't there some kind of theorem? Because so far we've never encountered intelligent life. Isn't there some kind of theory to where the reason is like the time between life becomes advanced enough to kind of communicate, to space travel, and then the time between that and they completely destroy themselves and their planet is such a small little period. I can't remember if it's Fermi or there's a whole paradox.
No. There is the Fermi paradox out there, but essentially just for your viewers and for us, just talking over a couple beers, which I hope are good, because
they are good. You're not drinking a beer.
I mean,
I feel kind of rude.
I feel like I'm doing official work, so
Okay,
I
that's
didn't
fair.
know how they would take it.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay.
All right. So if we think about it and we think about how old the Earth is, so if with it being 4.6 billion years old, okay.
Yeah.
So then we as a species are only about 250,000 years old.
Yeah.
So put that in a different perspective. If the Earth had been existing for a whole year, we would be around for less than a day.
Yeah.
So less than a day throughout a whole year has been our entire existence on Earth. And then on top of that, you throw in the crazy stuff like, well, humans have only been doing human stuff, like creating art, burying people through rituals, coming together in communal form. That's only been like 70,000 years.
So that's like an hour in a day or
So
something.
it's like an hour, it's something crazy like that. So the point being is that it has taken us just that one single day, that one snapshot in time to get where we're at now. And so would that line up with another civilization across the galaxy? They would have to line up in that space too, to be here at the same time we are for contact to be possible. And what are the chances of that? It's not impossible, but it takes things down quite a bit into what reality is. Because you're right. I mean, I know what you're talking about in terms of like there's some thoughts on there how long a civilization lasts. Fortunately, we're the only civilization I know of, so it hasn't actually proven out like how long they last. But if you assume maybe we last 5 million years, maybe we last 300,000 years. Either way, it's a small window. So you have to match someone out there in space that's lining up at that same time. So my thing is that finding a highly intelligent life form is going to be a tall order. But you might find clues of that either in the past. In the past, that civilization could have existed. Or what I think is more likely is finding just biological primitive life forms,
which
somewhere else.
Kind of leads me to the next question, and it's been in the news quite a bit. There has been an exoplanet they saw markers. It has to do with like there's some kind of chemical maybe that like sea algae or stuff might make that they think they're seeing in the atmosphere reflected. Or have you been following that at all?
So I have, because it's big news. Absolutely. And I'll tell you what, personally, I hope they're 100% right. because I think that would be cool. I think that would be what we're looking for. I think that would really really elevate the conversation about space and exploration. You'd have new interest. I think that would be great all around. But there's a kicker on it. I mean, I think that, and again, I think first off, they're using the James Webb Telescope, which actually is a NASA telescope built with other people. So, though the people that were using it are from Cambridge University, so they're using time on the James Webb. So the James Webb, they look through it, they pick up these signatures. It looks like gases, and those gases. You bored?
No,
I gotta get some.
This is really interesting.
So the gases on Earth are generated from things that are biological. Yeah. And so they classified it, and I think they had like a 3 sigma. 3 sigma is the term they use for that's how confident they are. The problem is that it takes a 5 sigma rating to declare a discovery in the world of science. So just from the scientists alone, they're saying, hey, calm down. Don't like throw this out there yet, because we have a lot more work to do to confirm. And part of that work is saying, well, can this gas be generated from other things, which is quite possible.
Okay.
And even on top of that, I think it seemed a little rushed, but like I said, I hope they're right. But it's possible those signatures can be from other things. It has been detected before, like on an asteroid.
Okay. And so it doesn't
so it's
mean that it's necessarily.
No, but it would be awesome.
Yeah.
But I think it is just a little bit of, I think you're going to see some retracting coming up.
Yeah,
I think you're going to see some, we still
like,
need
let's
the years
calm
to
down.
do.
10 years we might have a better answer.
Right.
Well, and I kind of blame, I don't blame journalism, but I do kind of blame the internet media landscape for a little of this, because you've got some scientists, they're doing work, they're not out there being like, hey, I've discovered life, but you get this little study, and then you read a little summarization study, it's like, scientists think there might be life, and then it's like, scientists say life on planet, and then everyone just recycles it online, and people like that stuff, and all of a sudden it goes from we've had positive signs that, maybe needs more studying to figure this out, to this is a planet with life on it. So I think that it kind of gets in the way of people trying to do some legit work. We get overly excited.
We do.
I do have a philosophical question, though, and this is one I've always had about SETI.
This is going to be good.
In general. Okay, so, we don't have any experience with extraterrestrial life, but we do have experience throughout the human existence. And so, I'm going on, first contact. There's never been a situation, or there's rarely a situation in human existence where you had one society that maybe had a technological advantage have first contact with another society where you didn't have that less advanced society just get totally hosed. And so my question and my ask is, do we want to know if there's intelligent life? Are we sending out signals too, or maybe we're just, eavesdropping?
So we're doing both. So there is Voyager 1 that's out there, and it's got the golden record.
Yeah, and it's so cool how they set that up.
I think it's got some prints on it. Maybe not. I just threw that in just for fun. But, so you have that. And so that's out there, and that's, I think now is just about to start to leave our actual universe. So I think that's our galaxy. Sorry. So that's there, and that's there to be found. Yeah. And it will keep traveling, and so that's possible. But then the other parts of it is we're listening, and we're looking for signatures, and we're preparing, for what that contact would be. For instance, there's a scientist at SETI that's listening to whale noises, how whales communicate with each other, because it's likely, again, all this is speculative, that you're probably going to encounter a water world, and intelligence will be something like the whale. But to the point of that being is that's what we would probably prefer to find, rather than what you're speaking of. If it's something that has, like we talked about, laser SETI, that can power a vehicle using lasers, or that is creating a Dyson sphere that's basically drawing energy from the sun and using it to power, which sounds cool. I don't think we really want to meet those people.
No, I know. We say, okay, do your thing. We're happy in our little backwater universe. It's
Look at us. We're just beer drinking.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
So we're woefully unprepared for that type of a contact. But so then the question might be, well, then why is it happening? Well, I'm taking your question. I know you were going to ask that. But I think it's just that natural human drive to explore, that natural human drive to know why you're here or to know what's out there besides you.
Yeah.
And so that's always going to happen. We're kind of explorers by nature. And I think that that's what drives us, even with there's some element of danger to it. Some would say a lot of element of danger to it, that it's going to continue. We just science keeps moving forward.
Yeah.
We keep pushing the boundaries to discover what's out there. And the hope is that if contact is made, possibly that intelligence can share some things with us that we don't know about.
Very good.
And that's been what's happening all throughout science and technology and space exploration. I mean, that's where you get Tang.
Yeah,
You know,
that's where you get Tang.
No, it
That's
is.
where you get Velcro, like all kinds of stuff.
All kinds of
The
great
MRI, like so much
Right,
like discoveries have come out of just trying to like do the engineering for space exploration.
Absolutely. So I
Yeah.
guess, you know,
No, I got one down
Okay,
here.
okay.
No, barring the kooks, okay, and I'm just asking
Okay.
your opinion.
I think this was my question, too.
okay.
You know, the UFO sightings are always the same. The car goes off. There's no power. The lights go off. What do you think?
Do you think
Just
those
tell
are-
us your theory on that.
So, you know,
are
I
they,
can't-
Are they government vehicles?
I would not answer that officially, but I would say this.
Unofficially,
unofficially,
like just
off
David
the
Decker
record, just
hanging
three guys
out.
drinking beer, talking.
I would say, look, since 1995, there's been 1,200 and some UFO sightings in Kansas. Mm-hmm. That's Kansas.
Yeah.
You know, you got to think about it. Kansas is relatively a small population.
And it's not very densely populated.
Not very densely populated. That's a lot of sightings per capita.
Yeah.
So, and I generally think of fellow Kansans as, there's some out there that are a little wacky, but for the most part, they're fairly reasonable.
I'm with
folks.
you, and
Yeah.
I've talked to one or two of them that are fairly reasonable
They're
people.
fairly
They're
reasonable
not total
people,
kook bags,
right?
but
And often they don't have anything to gain from it.
right.
Or they actually have stuff to lose because everyone's like, yeah, that's the UFO guy
Oh,
over
we're
there.
not crazy over there.
Earl's just drunk.
Yeah. But like I told you guys earlier about kind of that short window of time and things lining up of how old the universe is, how old other civilizations on planets could be, I think it's absolutely possible that is something in our past that could have occurred and that probably deserves more study, because the problem with all that, though, is that you might come up with an artifact. Say you come up with a metal screw that's embedded in a piece of rock that's billions of years old. One-offs by themselves are just that. They're not necessarily proof. And that's how they're treated.
They're a data
So
point.
they're looking for patterns. Like, is there a bunch of screws sitting all across the world? And this, but the one that's just one-off, not so much. And that also goes into those mega structures that you see like on TV, whether those are temples or pyramids, whatever. They'll say, well, yeah, it's cool, but it's kind of a one-off. It's not, so that's where it kind of falls apart a little bit. It's just that there's just not enough documented evidence to suggest. But I would say my personal belief is like, why not? I mean, if you're talking about the expanse of time, if you're talking about space, why not? What would prohibit a culture from rising up, growing through civilization, getting advanced technology, being able to travel, and then ultimately saying, oh, we're not interested, or phasing out themselves, failing to exist.
So, switching gears a little bit, you're a Newton guy, right?
Yes.
So,
1995, NHS.
There we go.
All right.
NHS.
Right on.
How do you get a job working at SETI?
Yeah.
Oh, well, are you asking me personally or asking how to get a job?
Well, I am curious how a Newton grad decides, I'm going to get a SETI, man.
Well, first off, I think it's it's expanding area. So I think that's the biggest thing is looking at it. And I would say that to any listeners that are listening is that just this is an expanding area for growth. In my lifetime, I didn't think I'd ever see the creation of Space Force. I thought that was kind of
that is
But
true.
that's why.
Yeah.
But Space Force is here.
Yeah.
And Space Force has got equipment, and Space Force is doing things in that sector. The same with SETI. It's going to become bigger and bigger because I think there's more things that are being shared with us that are related to space. I mean, you have the ladies that flew up in the rocket not that long ago. Was that last week or this week?
Yeah, it's just a couple weeks ago.
Blue Horizons, Blue Origins, whatever it is. So they flew up. I mean, no matter what you think about it, it's still generating talk. It's still generating excitement about space. The same is going to be true as we keep moving forward because the planet, we specifically, keep shoving things out into space. So there's satellites up there all over the place. So that next frontier is going to be how to regulate that. You know, what are, because satellites,
because we put so much crap out there too. Eventually, like we get trapped by just a spinning ball of crap.
Really,
yeah. And you know, no one wants to get hit in the face with trash.
No, you don't want to.
No, so I say no,
especially if you're in a vacuum.
Right? Yeah. So I would say if you're an NHS grad, and you're looking like, well, what do I want to do in my life? Look beyond the traditional platforms. Look at space exploration.
I love it.
Look at going out and saying, you know what is there more that I can do? Because the world is changing. It's changing rapidly. And I think even just in our time, can you ever remember like official government releasing videos with
No, that's been kind of
I was going to ask you that,
and, like,
too.
I'm all in, like, I don't know what to believe. Like, part of me is like, and then part of me is like, because like the government has such a history of like releasing like false information to cover up various projects that I'm like, well, is this some crazy like other technology that we have that we're trying to cover it up? But if you watch those videos, they're nuts.
I know they are. And you look at the documents
and then you listen to the
that were all blacked out.
And then you listen to the interviews of some of those guys, and they're like decorated Air Force pilots. They're like, I have no idea. Like, these aren't like crazy people.
Right. So
it's wild.
And I think that there's always an element of truth. You know, I don't think you get the full truth.
Okay.
But there's an element of truth.
There's a grain of truth.
And it's like quite possible. Yeah. It could be a little bit of, you know, you just don't rush out on a date. You got to do some warm up.
Right.
And I think that, you know,
got to do a little
I think
pre-work.
there's some softening that's going on. A little pre-drinking. A
little pre-game. Okay, just, not changing subject again, but you know, you sound like you have a lot of interest in this kind of stuff. So as a kid or just a young adult or just in your regular life, like, were you really into like sci-fi, that kind of stuff, like fantasy?
You know, I would say yes, but I'm more of a Lego guy.
More of a Lego guy. Lego guy. Yeah.
But I think there's parallels. But I love the Lego Space series. So probably as a little kid.
I was going to ask for reading recommendations. Like, what were some of the series you liked?
No, I like history. You know, I like history.
Yeah.
So, but you know, Lego guys, Lego Space, you'd find me playing with them. And books, I kind of like historical fiction. So, like, you know, a book that I just finished up was The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. So I kind of like her books. They're a little crazy, but I like them. But I think that's so. Anyway, I just have kind of a diverse interest.
Like, I thought The Martian was cool, like on a hard science thing, and then you have Seven Eves, which is another really good, like, very scientific approach to like space and what would happen if the moon blew up. And then there was another one,
Mars Attacks. Well, I mean, I think that film, and I might be wrong, your readers might know, but I think it was even partially filmed in Kansas.
It was,
it absolutely
over
was.
there in your part of the woods, in your neck of the woods.
And then there's another one that's about exactly what you're talking about called the Hail Mary Project. It's the same guy who did The Martian, and basically Earth is dying, its book, and then they go out in space and they run into intelligent life, and the whole book is basically how they have to come up with ways to communicate with this completely different life form. It's all about math, and it's really a neat book. Sorry, we're way off topic.
No, I was just going to say the Asimov books are just fantastic, as well as so you
what
seem
would
like
you do if you encountered an alien? What would you do?
That's a good question.
It really is a good question. I'm not sure.
Tonight.
You're driving home from this, you run into an alien.
I'd be in awe. I'd be shocked and awe.
Hey, I saw your broadcast.
Yeah, I'd say let's.
You'd say, please give us a like. Give us
a like. Let's grab a sixer and go talk.
Yeah. I mean, really invite him in for an interview.
Yeah, because by the way, you seem like a prime target for the Men in Black. You know, the government spooks come around the house. What's the story? Are you okay with that? I mean, they got to be poking around your yard somewhere.
I mean, the key is to join them.
Okay.
And then...
Oh, shit.
We were surprised.
We need to stop talking now.
No.
That's the key, right? You join.
Yeah. You gotta join them. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
All right.
That applies for all of.
Yeah. And then, do you have I have one unserious one.
No, ask it.
Okay. No. So every Bigfoot sighting, you get out there and there's always UFOs involved, and how are they tied together? Because I'm a Bigfoot believer, but this whole time together,
UFO people,
I don't know about this. I listen to Art Bell. I grew up with Art Bell.
Yeah. What was the name of that broadcast?
I can't even think of it.
I know. Coast to Coast.
Yeah, Coast to Coast.
Coast to Coast, yeah.
And then they, I can't even think of the guy's name that came after him, but yeah.
Carl Sagan?
No, it was George something.
Oh.
Yeah, Zurcher would know if he was here, but anyway. Okay. So yeah, let's speak on this.
I don't know what your question was.
Bigfoot's a little tough because it's totally different.
Right, but the UFO, there's these guys that are, I was like, God dang Bigfoot, and I was going to shoot him, the UFO came down, took me away.
Or the Bigfoot
What's
UFO.
the tie-in?
I don't think there's a tie-in.
No, there's a tie-in, damn it. I want this
You've
solved.
been pushing this theory for years.
Yeah, but it is cool, and I like Nessie too.
See, thank you.
You know,
Right.
That's
all. I'm satisfied.
I think I'm more likely to believe. Well, I don't know what I'm more likely to believe in if it's Bigfoot or aliens. So my Bigfoot thing is like, if you're ever out in the Pacific Northwest, like there are areas where it's
did
just.
you say you have trouble believing in anything?
No, I said I don't know what I'm more likely to believe in. I'm not trying to hurt
You can do both. You can do both. I do both.
I could see Bigfoot being out there in the forest somewhere doing their thing.
George
Like, if you're around
Norrie.
those forests-
Sorry, go ahead.
But I think I could see aliens too. Like, who are you to say? Like, there's stranger things on Earth than
Definitely.
Dream Horatio.
Definitely strange things out there.
Yeah, cool. I don't think I have any more ridiculous
I don't
questions.
either.
This was
David,
really,
this has been
really
so
interesting.
much fun.
It's a
Yeah.
pleasure to be here. So
All right,
The truth is out there.
It is. Hey, next week Lindsay Marshall's going to be on.
Oh, nice. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Cool.
Anyway, appreciate it, David.
All right.
Wait,
Thank
what
you
does
so
Lindsay
much.
do?
Kronberg.
Kronberg in, and she's going to talk about some animals that she won't bring them. She's going to talk about.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Because
pretty
Kronberg
excited.
burned down a while back. She's been doing everything she can to raise money to get that thing
And
back
she's
on.
just a
She's a
amazing.
cool person. So
Sounds
cool. Well, hey,
All right.
thank you so
All
much.
right,
for
guys.
being
Appreciate
here.
it so much.
Did you show him your T-shirt? Oh, you already did.
I did,
Okay.
but I'm going to wear it tonight.
Okay. Well, cheers.
I'll wear it
Thank you,
tomorrow.
guys.
Cheers.
All right,
Be
be
kind. Believe.